run.
All right, it's 6 p.m. April 9th, 2024. Today's a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Brackett SD. Would everybody please stand for a moment of silence for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a quorum established. Next on the agenda is public comments. Now moving on to item number 3, which is our recognitions. Before we begin, just to let the parents know, the meetings are live streamed. So if you don't want your kid or kid's name to come out, just to let you know ahead of time that you can leave before, because we are live streaming our meetings now. Just an FYI.
Awesome. We're going to start with our secondary recognitions today. And so we're going to start, I'll ask Mr. Jimenez to join me, with some District 32A All-District Honors for our basketball team. So our basketball team had a great season this year. We were very proud of how well they did. They played with all their heart every time, every game, and they really made us proud. So we'll start with Jordan Valderas, who received Defensive MVP and Academic All-District. Marcus Hernandez, First Team All-District and Academic All-District. Santos Bujeron, Second Team All-District and Academic All-District, and he's playing baseball right now. Cameron Creel, Honorable Mention and Academic All-District, and I think he's playing baseball right now. Honorable Mention and Academic All-District. Trent Sandoval, Honorable Mention. Anthony De Leon, Academic All-District. Skylar Graves, Academic All-District. Andy Rendon, Academic All-District. Congratulations. Josh Turner, Academic All-District. And then we did have 2 students who made the Academic All-State, and that is Cody Long and Skylar Graves. Y'all will come around this way. Mr. Jimenez, we'll get on one side of y'all, and I'll get on the other side. Here we go. Thank you. Awesome. Great job, boys. We're very proud of you. Next up, we have some band awards. So our band has done a great job, and they went and competed in different solo areas. And we had Daniel Bettis, who made a 1 on his really great year this year. We're very proud of them. Nice and proud. Thank you. To recognize our Tiger Pod twirlers. So they bring such a special zest to our band. So you make it very special and we're very proud of you. So for color guard, 2 baton solos, we have Kalina Nichols. Congratulations. Alexis Sumner. Abigail Malloy. And Ethan Luna. And then we also had a baton quintet, Kalina Nichols. Alexis Sumner. Liana Rivas. Avery Beard. And Ethan Luna. It says that the Tiger Paws twirlers competed in Region 11 solo and ensemble and earned the highest score of a 1 on their Class 1 and 2 baton solos. They're going to compete at the State Solo and Ensemble on May 27th in Pflugerville. This is the 9th year in a row that our twirlers have been on this. So I don't want to forget to congratulate Ms. Schweizer. I'm short. Good?
A little bit less. All right.
Awesome job! Alrighty, so we are done with our secondary awards. Thank you all so much. We're going to move over to the elementary awards. And this time for elementary, we are recognizing excellence in math. And so these are students who have a level 5 on their iStation, which is the top level that they can be on. And they've been at level 5 every month this year. So they've been at level 5 and stayed at level 5. My elementary kiddos, you're going to hold your certificate, but then you're going to give it back to us because we need to put your name on it, okay? And then Ms. Newman will give it to you tomorrow, okay? So let's start with in Kinder, my level 5 student, Everett K. All year long. Congratulations. Good job. And in first grade, Kendall England. Way to go. Shake my hand. And then go and take all these hands. And Reagan Eid. Okay? In third grade, we have Joaquin Corona. In fourth grade, wow, fourth grade, we've got 4 students who have stayed at level 5. So they are our top class. Jacob Maciel. That means next week they're going to give me some awesome star scores.
Yeah.
Brayden Ford. Yeah. Good job, Brayden. very nice. And then we're going to do shape over here.
Kendall, can you and Abby stand in the front for me? Stand in the front, right there. Right there. You and hold this. You guys are bigger, so let's go around here.
There you go.
Perfect. Mr. Keith, right here, please, sir. Perfect. Good job, guys. Smile pretty. Smile.
And of course, we make this Facebook official after the meeting, so y'all can find their pictures on Facebook. Awesome. Good job, guys.
Good job.
Yes, we're going to give those back to Miss Kinney. She's going to get them back to you
I'll
tomorrow.
get your names on it and we'll get them in the party. Okay, guys, thank you. Thank you.
What if I get the awful?
Sorry, we have a concession stand here, Laura.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 4 on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Let's take a minute, look at the previous meetings, administrative reports, and department reports.
What's the issue with the football field with the ball?
With the what?
There's a replaced pump issue waiting on contractor service for the football field.
It was fixed today. Electrical.
Electrical?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Yes. The rotation, the wiring was backwards.
This director alert system thing, is that, I'm assuming it's for an emergency thing?
Yes, so all the staff members, it's an app that you download on your phone. And so it's got our standard response protocol. So we use that to go into a lockdown, a hold, secure, and the teacher will get the alert. All staff members will get the alert on their phone.
Is that connected with the one that's in the room?
No, it's separate.
Okay.
So now we actually have multiple plans, to make sure that the InfoFix alert goes out. They still have their emergency panic button that's in the classroom, and then they can also send out an alert that would go out to Raptor that would be district-wide.
Which is on phone.
It's kind of a safety net to make sure that we have both ways. The ones in the classrooms are the ones that are tied to the sheriff's office.
Oh.
Raptor's not tied to the sheriff's office. It's just in-house district.
How long was Mr. TERRAZAS here for this time around?
Dave, for the work he did on the transmission, probably, Mr. Solis, do you know the number, how long he worked this time?
No, ma'am, I don't. But I can
You can find out and get that information.
Does he still come every year?
During the summertime for updates, last summer he still came. We have not made our summer plan yet, but I'm gonna say most likely he will still need to come. We do have a plan to address that though. There's a course that's being offered by junior college on general maintenance, and so we have put that out to two of our gentlemen to get them to take that class, like general automotive maintenance. And so if we can get someone in-house to do it, then that's something that Mr. Solis has been talking about.
Thank you.
Everybody good? Yeah. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented to include the minutes of the March 18th, 2024 regular meeting?
So moved.
And that makes the motion. With seconds, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 5, which is our informational items. 5A is live streaming the school board meetings. Ms. Diaz?
So at our last regularly called board meeting, we had a request during public comments for this to be actually put on the agenda. They wanted to make sure that we were considering live streaming, that we utilize resources that the district has to live stream. So after some discussion during the last board meeting, during closed session, we will be now live streaming our board meeting. So Michael will be here, and we'll make sure that we have that live stream up and going.
Moving on to 5B, which is the DIP and the SIP updates.
So our dips and zips have been a few months behind, and that started since November. So like the November one, we did in January, and then we just kind of pushed them all back. So if you look at the district plans and the campus improvement plans, we are now up to March. So we went back and we reviewed where we were in our goals and strategies, and we have done the formatives now for November, January, and March. The next one that we do will be the summative in June. I think what you're going to see throughout the CIPs is basically just an increase in that percentage. So like, for example, if you're looking at strategy 1, instructional software, well, in November we were implementing at about a 65%. By January we were 70%, and then by March we're looking at about an 85%, because we're building those in, making sure that students are using them. There's also some notes there where I may have put in there that they've scheduled some specific time. So you can just basically see that we are moving forward. The goal is always to be at 100% by the time that we get to that June. There are some that continue to be not graded, or you'll show a very small percentage point, and it has to do with summer programs. So like it may have been not graded in November and January because we weren't talking about summer programs yet. But now that we're at March, we've gotten the letters of intent out, we've recruited the teachers, we've gotten the curriculum that we're going to use, and so you'll see that that's moving a little bit more. So I feel working with the principals, working with Mrs. Price, we feel like we're moving forward in our strategies that are listed in the campus improvement plan and the district improvement plan. These were the goals and the strategies that were developed by the district advisory committee. So I will be meeting with district advisory committee on April 19th, and that's where we talk about really keeping the same goals but looking at different strategies. What can we do? Because if we haven't completely met our goal yet, what are different strategies that we can put in place? So if you have any questions for myself or for either of the principals in regards to the improvement plans.
So like some of these, like next year, you won't even have to deal with like the flex day one.
Correct. Yes, and so that's what we do with the district advisory committee. We actually will go through this and say like, we're not doing it because there's no flex days, or we're not doing it because it didn't work, or we want to add it and change it, because we're not doing flex. We're modifying it. Yeah, this one you'll also see some very specific curriculum, like the use of Amplify, the use of Eureka.
Right, we're seeing that one, you've already hit it at 100%.
Yes, and if the teachers didn't like it, we may replace it with something else, you know, so you'll see a different thing.
For most of them, the majority of them are already like at 75% or better. Is there a reason why performance objective 1, strategy 1, provide social emotional support through counseling sessions, social emotional learning, and parents training to increase student grades, attendance, peer interaction, and parent engagement is moving so slow?
I think it has to do with the parent engagement part of it. So we have started lots of different types of counseling sessions. You know, we met with the principals. There's a procedure when the secretaries call home, when, you know, who kind of takes every step when it comes to attendance or grades or whatever it is. The hard part has really been the parent engagement. So I didn't feel comfortable with moving that one when we can't get that piece going. You know, we have a really hard time with getting parents to return phone calls or come to the conferences. Even when we have our meetings, you know, we get a very low turnout. Elementary has been a little bit better with the meeting turnouts, but because we have the kids perform. So if we have the kids perform, then the parents come instead, you know, will come to watch. And so then we get to have a little mini training, a little mini meeting, you know, with them. So we just still need to work on that parent engagement piece.
Everybody good? For the question, moving on to 5C, which is the attendance report.
So the attendance report attached is for the 4th 6 weeks. The 4th 6 weeks ended, let's say, first in March before spring break. Yeah, it was when we came back from Christmas, and it was kind of a weird date there. And we had a board meeting, or we pushed the board meeting back, and we didn't do the review of the 4th 6 weeks attendance. I think going back to something that Ms. Gabriel said in our campus improvement plans, you know, about parent engagement. If you look at our attendance reports, where we are really struggling is at the elementary. So kindergarten was at 90%,
First grade was at 93. Second grade was at 89. Third grade was at 93. Fourth grade was at 92. And fifth grade was at 93. So we didn't ever hit 94, 95. We're always looking at being at 95 or better is our goal. Now, we put some things in place and we continue to monitor and make phone calls. And to date, elementary is at 94%, and that was in her campus report, that we are really struggling. Our attendance is being hit hard by the elementary school. If you look at secondary, we see some improvement. 6th grade was at 95. 7th grade was at 95, 8th grade was at 92, 9th grade was at 93, 10th grade was at 95, 11th at 91, and 12th at 92. So a little bit more of what we want to see. Total as a district, we were at 93, which is about where we were last year at this time. So not a big gain compared to last year. I do feel like 4 to 6 weeks is usually our lowest 6 weeks. The 6 weeks after Christmas, between Christmas break and spring break, it's a tough one. High school has their current to date attendance at 94 and junior high has it at 95. So if we look at current to date, taking elementary 94, junior high 95, high school 94, we're sitting right at about that 94-95%, which is, we don't want to fall below that because our ADA is based on, our funding is based on attendance. So we really need to strategize and put some things in place at the elementary to make sure that our kids are coming to school on a daily basis.
All right. Moving on to the STAR intern assessment.
So the attachment here is the interim comparison. So last meeting, I shared with y'all where we were this year with our interims, and Mr. Massengill asked for a comparison between where we were last year compared to this year. So what's in yellow is last year's scores, and then what's in white would be what was shared last board meeting. So there's a couple of different ways that you can look at this. You can look at it comparing third graders to third graders, last year's third graders to this year's third graders. So just as an example, last year's third graders, the first time we gave the practice test, 50% of our kids did not pass. Okay. This year's third graders, the first time we gave the reading practice test, 42% of them did not meet the standard. So that's actually a good thing. We had less kids. The percentage there, you want to see it go down. So you want to see that less kids are in that did not meet standard, because that means they're over in that either approaches, meets, or masters. So that's looking at third grade to third grade. That helps us look at teachers. That helps us look at curriculum, because those things are staying the same for the most part. Okay, but the kids change. The other way to look at it is cohort by cohort. Okay, so if you look at third grade reading, 2023, okay, first test, 50% of them did not pass. That same group of kids is the fourth grade reading that's in white below them. So 28%. So that is a huge improvement. Those third graders really made some big gains going into fourth grade with their first semester of instruction as fourth graders. So like I said, there's a couple of different ways that you can look at this, and we've looked at it and talked about it, because I think when you look at cohorts, you're looking at student to student, and when you're looking at grade, you're looking at more of the systemic things that we have in place. Maybe the allotted minutes for the class, the instructional design, the curriculum that's used. I think for the most part, you see some improvements from cohort to cohort, but we also do see some drops. So you kind of wonder, okay, in fifth grade, in 2023, actually fifth grade is actually a good one to look at. So fifth grade 2023, first reading test, they were at 46%. Now they're sixth graders, okay, only 30%. So again, that's what we want to see. We want to see that number going down. You can also look at approaches, meets, and masters.
because we want more kids to get masters. So looking at that, you can see that in some of our 2023 scores, we had more masters last year than we have this year, and we want to flip that. We want more masters, not just approaches and needs. So I know that's a lot to look at, but I did want to provide that for you because it was requested. And if you have questions, please feel free to email me, because it's a lot of data to dive into and dig.
Next is 5E, which is the review of the trio agreement. DIAZ.
So, as you know, since I came on board, I've been going back and looking at different agreements, different MOUs, different contracts that we have in place to see if they need to be updated, how long they've been in place. So one of those was the TRIO agreement. So the TRIO program has been a part of our high school campus, and kids get instruction and information on colleges, on financial aid. They do college trips. We provide her with a room. She's not our employee. She's an employee of UTSA. So she's an employee of UTSA, but we house her. Okay, so she's housed here. She gives us her schedule, and when she's here, she provides us with a list of students that she would like to see or that are eligible for trips, and then we work with her to make sure that we're targeting the right group of kids. So if you look at the attachment, there was a letter of support that was done by the previous superintendent, and he did it for 5 years. So it was from 2021 to 2025. So we have one more year with the UTSA TRIO program, which would be next year. 24-25 would be the last year. And it basically talks about what I just shared with you, that we provide the space, access to students. The reason I brought this up for us to look at was because there is another program called the Gear Up program. And I am setting up a meeting with them, and I would like for us as a team to review both programs, the TRIO program and the Gear Up program. I'd like to get some feedback from my secondary counselor, from my secondary principal, and see what direction that we want to go in. I really want to evaluate the TRIO program and see, is it doing what it says that it's supposed to do? Is it being impactful? So it is up. We have one more year. So I will be meeting with our TRIO person and letting her know that we will be doing an evaluation of the program, and that way we can decide which direction we want to go in the future. And then previous to that, we had it for 3 years under the superintendent before him. So we had, it started in 2016.
Gear Up is from where? Is it the same target student or for everybody?
It's for everybody. They work a lot with Saul Ross, okay? Also with Rio Grande College, so a little bit more centralized, I guess. A lot of the stuff they do is out of Del Rio, Uvalde, Eagle Pass, and then Saul Ross Alpine. Mr. Jimenez, I don't know if you have a little bit more experience with Gear Up.
Yes, I've actually worked with Gear Up. They basically provide the same services, but I have seen a little bit more from Gear Up, if I was to compare both programs. Gear Up works with the principals, and let's say if a presenter is needed, they will pitch in money along with the district to try and bring presenters to campus for either college education or motivational speaker or whatnot. So if I was to compare both programs, I think Gear Up offers a little bit more. But
and they also do the parental component, okay? And back to the parent, wanting to make sure that our parents have a strong understanding of the value of education and the importance of coming to school. My kids went through Gear Up, And I was constantly getting parent newsletters, and there was lots of parent trainings, to assist on the parent side of it. I'm sorry.
And what experience do you have with TRIO?
TRIO, I see that they do work with parents. There's frequent meetings going on. So they'll come in, and it's basically to fill out paperwork for college. FAFSA is one. They do have the trips, very similar to GEAR, and they do a fun activity after every college trip. One thing that I do want to mention about GEAR is that I work with GEAR to implement an after-school tutorial program, which is something that I haven't seen with TRIO. So
Is TRIO for all students or just?
it's basically for upper grade seniors.
But anybody can?
Right, so there's no criteria like economically disadvantaged or, they don't have to be coded in.
But I mean,
a
both
certain
will
way.
service all students, no.
Juniors and seniors, usually we start their junior and senior year.
Both.
Can we have both? I don't know. I guess if they were willing to both be here, yeah, they can, I guess.
Oh, I mean, it's for any competition.
Yes.
It makes it, you should
Makes them want to be
iron
strong.
sharpens iron.
Well, and I'm not against, I definitely don't want to sound like I'm against TRIO, because that's not the case. I just think it's one of those that if we don't evaluate it and see, is it doing what it said that it's going to do? How many of our kids, that went on the college trips applied to college? How many of the kids that, went to the training that was on FAFSA completed their FAFSA? Because I think the trips are all wonderful, and I think it's great to
But
expose
I don't
them.
think it's saying anything about TRIO. I think it's the kids.
Right.
And they're gonna do that with Gear Up.
Is everything coming full circle? It's like we give the kids this, but then is it coming full circle? So I want an opportunity to evaluate the program and see what can we do to make it better for our kids.
My experience with TRIO is their focus has been, all years my kids have participated, focus on Mexican American kids to get them into schools, colleges. Is Europe, it doesn't make a difference, Mexican American, whatever.
Yeah.
It won't make a difference. Okay. And it's more inclusive. Okay.
All right, moving on to 5F. Kinney County Appraisal District proposed budget for 2024-2025.
So annually, we receive a letter from Mr. Tate regarding legal requirements. So on March 13th, Mr. Tate sent us a letter. Okay, so Mr. Tate sent us a letter saying that as required, the following had to be presented to the board. So it is my understanding that an email went out today that he wasn't aware of being at this meeting. However, the letter did come from him saying that this needed to be put on a board agenda. So I did respond to him, and I would like to start with that first, that I did respond to his email, letting him know that we received a copy of his letter, and in the letter, he mentions the legal requirements that need to be presented to the board. In the past, you may recall that he came to present. So last year he came to present, and when they were doing the 12% raise for their employees, you all as a board had an opportunity to ask questions about the budget and about the raise. So specifically, I did let him know that he, in the past, has always come. He sends us the letter, tells us it needs to be on there, and then he comes and presents and gives you an opportunity. So I did email him, and I told him that since he sent the letter, that I thought he knew he would need to be here to present. However, that since he was not going to be here, that I would take questions, if y'all have questions, and I could email him the questions that you had, or that we could reschedule and he could present in May. And then I do want the board to know that I did put out that I look forward to improving communication with Mr. Tate. We have to work together, and if he's not going to include me in communication, then it's really hard to improve communication. So I did reach out to him and say, we need to work together. So we have a couple of options. You all can review it,
and I can take questions, and email him, or we can, I can let him know that y'all would prefer that he come and present, and we can push it back to May. This one is just informational, so there was no action to be taken at this time anyways. Amalia, I don't know if there was anything in what he reported to us that we want to highlight for the board members.
Probably what he highlighted, which is the date of May the 7th, when he's going to present this proposed budget to his board, and the time.
And our board meeting will be after the fact.
Correct.
Out of curiosity, just for clarification, in his email he says, "I'd like to let you know that this was the first I had heard of this." Is that correct?
No, sir. On March 13th, we received the letter where he requested to be placed on the agenda.
Is it a practice of the school? Because the next question is, I have received no invitation or request to be present at the meeting, and therefore I will not be attending. Does he usually get a formal request from this body?
No, usually when someone requests to be put on the agenda, they're placed on the next available agenda, the next monthly agenda, and then they come in and present.
If you ask to be on the agenda, it's understood that you should come present what you asked to put on the agenda.
And I agree. The only thing is that why is he sending that in his email to us?
Exactly.
And I think that those that sat on the board last year know that he did come and present this information.
He's always coming. I don't remember the time him.
Yes. And so to me, this was more of like when Ms. Diaz didn't call, you know.
I see where some have decreased by more than 50%. I'd like for him to give us some of their decrease.
Could we, just out of curiosity, I'm not sure about this, if we needed to have a special meeting in regards to this for him to answer the question before May 7th, is that feasible? I don't.
Yes, a special meeting can be called.
Okay.
Being that this is the first time I've seen this stuff on here, I mean, it'd be nice for him to come and explain a little bit more.
Okay.
In my opinion, I know a lot of it is self-explanatory, but.
Would y'all like to stick to Mondays, and I can see if he's available one of the next coming Mondays? I can give him the option of the next 2 Mondays.
Not next day.
Or if there's dates that work better for y'all, looking at the April calendar. You want to aim for the 22nd, April 22nd? That would give him 2 weeks.
That's good. That's absolutely fine.
Okay. Then I'll get that information to him, and then we'll make sure that that's posted, and it'll be a special call meeting just to review those 2 items.
If you, anybody chime in, but if you email him, will you CC somebody else?
Absolutely.
Just,
thank you. Yes.
In regards to what he's requesting this year and reviewing his records, I wasn't here last year, but last year he requested a 12% increase.
It was about that, by 11 or 12.
You can go back on board book around this time, and his stuff will be in there. I'm almost sure.
And this year he's requesting a 4% increase and these funds are, the increases to help with his salaries and the operation of his office here at Special Collector's Office.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have anything else? For the 5F and G table? F, the Kinney County Appraisal District proposed adoption. Budget for 2024-25, and G is the Kinney County Appraisal District annual audit year ending September 30th, 2023.
Also move.
Second.
Well, I mean, they're informational.
Yeah.
We don't have to take
Yeah.
them action. We just, we're gonna skip those and come back if he decides to join us for the special meeting. Moving on to 5H, the Early Hood and AVANCE Head Start program from Ms. Diaz.
So this one right now is informational item, as an informational item, but you'll also see it located in closed session. That way we could possibly take action on it after closed session. I have had 2 meetings with AVANCE about the possibility of our community partnership opening back up the way we had it previously. The goal behind that was there was a need expressed for our 3-year-olds. Where do our 3-year-olds go? Currently, AVANCE has the infants and the 1 and 2-year-olds, and when they turn 3, they're dropped. They're dropped from the program, and there's nowhere for them to go until they turn 4, which then they can join our pre-K program. So I reached out to AVANCE and I said, okay, new administration, can we get this going again? Not sure what happened, but let's rebuild this and let's have a 3 and 4-year-old program at the school. So if you look at the document that's there, what's crossed out was my proposal. Okay, so it says Brackett ISD's proposal was to have a Head Start classroom with 16 preschoolers, which would be our 3 and 4-year-olds. AVANCE would do the licensing. The request from the district is that they would take care of the teacher of record. They would fund the teacher of record. We would take care of the classroom, meals, operations, and maintenance. They turned that down. So they said that was not cost effective for them, and they would not be able to sustain both their current AVANCE program and add ours. So I did mention it to them that this is how it had been done previously. So historically, they had their 1 off-site, and then we had the 3 and 4-year-old program on-site. They feel like they don't have the funds to be able to do a 3 and 4-year-old program without doing some major cuts to their current programs, which they are willing to do, okay, but it would significantly impact us because their proposal, okay, is that Brackett ISD house the early Head Start, which is the 1 and 2-year-olds, plus the Head Start, the 3 and 4-year-olds. They give us the 1 and 2-year-old teacher, okay? They give us the license, but Brackett ISD pays for the 3 and 4-year-old teacher, Brackett ISD pays for the meals, Brackett ISD pays for the operations, and for the maintenance. AVANCE would provide 1 teaching assistant. Okay. So when we had this conversation, I said, I'm going to have to visit with my board about this because I know that there's been some community concern about the 3-year-olds and it being that Brackett ISD doesn't want to do it. And so I just want to be clear, Brackett ISD did reach out and we do want to do it, but unfortunately the way they're proposing it, I don't see it as financially feasible for us because we don't get ADA or funding for 3-year-olds. So we're basically taking all of the costs. The other thing that concerns me, and that's the next page that they showed me, is in order to make this work, they're having to close down other things in order to open up slots, and so we would lose the infant center. So we would open 1 and 2-year-olds and 3 and 4-year-olds, but they would completely close down their other AVANCE program in order to be able to sustain this one. So I feel like it would still backfire in our community because now our infants, our parents that have
young infants wouldn't have an AVANCE program. So it's either they stay and they have infants and 1 and 2 year olds, or they close and we have 1 and 2 year olds and 3 and 4 year olds at the expense of the district. So, like I said, I put this on there and I wanted to be sure that we talked about it in open session so that way it was available to the community, that we are trying to create a partnership, but right now I'm not quite seeing the partnership.
I don't see an advantage to that because even then, you're only going to be able to take in 8 toddlers, and how is that an advantage? You're going to have to turn some away.
Right.
And what if there's more than 16
Right.
3-year-olds?
Yeah.
Right. And then right now, what we did when we lost the program is we opened a second 4-year-old class. Right. And we've been very successful having 2 4-year-olds, because we used to have just 1 4-year-old class and then the AVANCE 3 and 4-year-old. When AVANCE closed, I was worried about the other 4-year-olds, so we opened up a second 4-year-old pre-K class.
Because would we use the same criteria that they use? I mean, because
we have to.
But and then because if you're a public school, how are you gonna? Right. And whereas they have criteria where you have to meet like income based, and well, we're a public school. I mean,
yes, and so and again. I explained to them that it was done very differently before, and they said we could go back to doing it that way. This is what they could offer us.
Do you even have a facility to handle 1 and 2 year olds?
No.
That's...
No. And they talked about bringing their own stuff. We would probably still use that portable building where we housed them before, because it does have 2 rooms in there. When they brought that to my attention, I was very concerned about whether or not we would meet the requirements, because with AVANCE, you have to have so much square footage per student, and I'm not sure if we would meet that. I also, in visiting with Ms. Newman, to have 1 and 2 year olds on campus during lockdowns, fire drills, it would be very challenging. Not impossible, but definitely challenging.
I just see the look on Harvey's face.
It doesn't look promising.
And because
not the way they presented it.
Right. And so I did put it on closed session so we could discuss it further, so I know what direction I need to take in my next meetings with them.
I couldn't help but notice they have a lot of, by reading it correctly, a lot of directors, people getting salary directors for all these programs. Sounds like an upper level bureaucracy.
Chiefs.
So if they close down their facility, what would they be doing?
So they would close down their facility, and their 1
through 4 we would have to take on.
Right.
What's left over there? Nothing.
They closed. They closed because they say they can't maintain both, even though they wouldn't really be maintaining over here, because we would be maintaining the building. They said they couldn't fund both a 1 and 2 year old teacher and a 3 and 4 year old teacher.
And they're not, we are.
Right, but they want to, so they would fund the 1 and 2 year old teacher if we housed them over here, but we would still have to pay the 3 and 4 year old teacher.
We would. And the building.
And everything else.
And the maintenance, so they're not really maintaining us.
So they're shutting down and paying 1 teacher.
Yeah.
With their proposal. So they're washing their hands of their program, pretty much.
And then there's no program for 0 to 12 months.
And like I said, I just wanted to make it really clear, because I did hear when I first came on board how we had dropped us, and so I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood we didn't drop them, they dropped us, and then we reached out again, and just the proposal that they're presenting has quite a bit of challenges.
Normally the jobs that they'll cut us later.
Moving on to 5A, which is the announcement of board member continuing education credit, the C.E.C. framework for board development distribution. So under the State Board of Educational rule, complete required continuing education each year of the service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I'm required to announce the name of each member who has completed the required continuing education, has exceeded the required continuing education, and is deficient in meeting the required continued education. Requirements for training are measured as the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointment of 2-year anniversary of his or her previous training as applicable. There are 7 training areas for board members' continuing education. 1, local district orientation. 2, orientation to the Texas Educational Code. 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Educational Code. 4, team building. 5, additional continuing education. 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. 7, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. To the extent applicable of each board member, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to required training. For board members who still have time remaining to complete required training, I will announce those board members who have scheduled timely training and those who have not yet scheduled the training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board members' training in excess of the continuing education requirements. For the 2024 school year, all experienced board members have exceeded their C.E.C hours. Jesse TERRAZAS had 19, Guadalupe Rodriguez had 19 hours, Renee Real had 21 hours, Tully Welch had 21 hours. 2024 school year, the new trustees elected May 2023, Whitney Massico had 25 hours, Guillermo Guzman had 32.75 hours, Ricky Sandoval had 29.75 hours. All newly elected trustees have completed their 25 annual C.E.C hours.
Good job, guys.
So I want to thank everybody that went above and beyond. Nobody is deficient. Pending training, all members, the Team 8 building training will be held in the summer. It says here Mr. Welch needs a cybersecurity online training.
It's been done.
It's done. Mr. Guzman needs it says the post-legislative update, waiting for the next available session. So with that, I appreciate you guys all keeping up with that. Nobody is deficient. So moving on to 5J, which is the update on the Brackett ISD position vacancies.
So to me, this was very exciting news compared to where we were last year with the amount of vacancies that we had. We've been very fortunate that over the last 2 board meetings, we've been able to bring some certified teachers for approval. So looking at our recommendation, you can see that we are all but 1 teacher short at the elementary. And again, that is if we have no one else, we have no one resign between now and the end of the school year. And we have people who get job transferred and all of that, but we're in really good shape. And the other thing I added is that the teachers that we brought to the board for approval have been certified teachers. So right now, the 1 vacancy that we have would be for pre-K. In kinder, we have 2 certified, 1 DOI. In first, 3 certified. In second, 2 certified. In third, 2 certified and 1 DOI. In fourth, 2 certified. And in fifth, 2 certified. Now that is going with the 2 for some grade levels. Okay, and so I did put the class size there. We're looking at first grade with an average class size of 13, second grade with an average class size of 15, third with an average class size of 13, and fourth and fifth with 19 and 18 respectively. Now, this is not to say that if we get another certified applicant that we wouldn't consider a third teacher, but we've had to function this way and we've done okay. You know, is there always room for improvement? Absolutely. But I do feel like my teachers have done well. We're also going to self-contained next year, okay, which basically means that our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers will go back to being the teacher of record for all classes. Okay,
I think that's gonna help build relationships. I think that's gonna help with the social emotional. I think it's gonna help with the planning. They're not going to see 13 kids and then another 13 kids and then another 13 kids. Their 19 kids are their 19 kids all day long, instead of 19 one rotation and then another 19 the second rotation. So I do think that's going to make a difference. At the secondary, we had a special ed vacancy due to a resignation. However, we have filled that with a teacher who has special ed experience that's currently on campus. So you can see that that's been filled, which left a graphic design vacancy, which we made a reassignment, and so we have filled that. So that ended up leaving us with a theater arts vacancy, a Spanish vacancy, and we would still like very much to get a possible welding teacher. Okay. And again, master schedules by my two principals aren't completely completed, but we're in pretty good shape. If you look at the numbers on the bottom, with what I am recommending, we would be reducing from the 53 teachers that we budgeted for 23-24 to 48 teachers. But I think the important thing to note here is the highly qualified. So I think we're still within caps, requirements. The state says 4th and 5th can be up to 28. I am in no way saying that I ever want to put 28 kids, in a classroom ever. But, I think that I feel comfortable with 19 and 20. If we reduce them to 48 and we put that in our preliminary budget, we're looking at reducing the budget by about $275,000. So again, if a certified teacher comes our way, it's not to say we're not going to hire them. This is just to be able to say that we're in pretty good shape when it comes to certified teachers right now. And could things still change? Absolutely.
The DOI is just lacking?
The DOIs just means that they're degreed already. They're in a program already. They just need to get their tests done for the most part. Some of them may have a couple of modules, or courses left, but they're all degreed. So interns were the ones that weren't degreed. Right. Your interns aren't degreed, but your DOI they are 4-year bachelor's degree and in a program.
And we're still running open job announcements for certified teachers?
Yes. Yes. And they're exactly what you said, open, elementary teacher, secondary teacher.
Some of the noise I hear outside of here is that we're having issues with retention. That has not been the case now for a couple of years now.
Correct. I think everybody.
Retention is getting stronger.
I would say retention is getting stronger, and I say that the teachers who leave for transfer of a spouse. The ones that leave. We have I think one at the high school that I think is still waiting to see if her military spouse is going to be reassigned. So it's for reasons of that nature, of that type.
The ones that have two certified and one DOI, is there a reason for that? Does that mean that there's going to be 3 people?
It means that there's 3.
Yeah.
So if you look at the number of teacher column, it says how many teachers have been assigned to that grade level, and then currently what we have.
And the 2 certified that are in there with the DOI, those are strong certified teachers?
Yes, sir. And I think all reassignments have been done already. So my principals have met with their teachers, and if they were moved to grade level or moved to subject.
And all accepted?
No.
That's kind of fun.
But I think that goes back to Whit's statement that we want to make sure every grade level has 2 strong mentors, 2 people that can guide a deal,
All right, moving on to our action items. 6A is the consideration and possible action regarding TEAT certification 2024-2025 of instructional materials. Ms. Diaz?
So this is an annual form. So we bring this every year. It's required by the Texas Education Agency, where the district has to certify that the materials that we use, the curriculum that we use, the resources that we use are all approved by the state, and that we do have that 100% alignment. So it's a survey that I had to complete, and then after tonight's action item, Mr. Terrazas will sign and it will be submitted to TEA. It basically just says that I did put that the full subject resources and the scope and sequence are generally consistent across all classrooms. So that was the most credit that we could get, that although you might see things done a little bit differently, you're going to see consistency in the classrooms. And then we did list the resources that are used most often. So this is not a comprehensive list, okay? There are other workbooks, Scholastic News, there are other things that teachers use in their classroom, but these are the ones that are used the most and that are aligned to the TEATs. So I had to put it by grade level, by subject, and we are 100% compliance. Everything that we use is aligned to the TEATs.
This is a yearly thing you have to do
Yes.
every year. Is there a motion to approve the TEAT certification for the 2024-2025 of instructional materials?
Question. Is this your completed survey?
Yes.
Don't forget to fill out question 1.2. Select the role that best describes your position at your district or charter.
Oh, thank you.
I will make a motion to approve.
With completion on that too?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Second. Renee makes a motion, Telly seconds, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Moving on to 6B, which is a consideration and possible action regarding the 2024-2025 district calendar adoption.
So for the calendar adoption, we, at one of our previous meetings, we went through the process of how we had the district advisory committee come up with options. They came up with about 13 options, and then they came in and they voted, and we were able to narrow it down to four. So 4 options, and then we voted, but when we put the options out, we did say that if there was a calendar that didn't get 50% of the vote, we would have a runoff, because we did have 4 calendars. So we did end up having a runoff, and it was between calendars 5 and 8. Calendar 5 is the calendar that was selected, and it was selected by 51 votes. 17 elementary, and 21 secondary, and then 13 other, which could be district custodians, maintenance, cafeteria ladies. And so we do have that information. This one, to me, goes very much back to the traditional calendar, the no flex days. One of the things that was brought to our attention that we did include was additional work days at the beginning of the year. You'll see that teachers get 2 work days on that Thursday, Friday, then they get a week of training, and then they get 3 work days without any training, without us pulling them out for meetings, and then they start school on the 20th. Kids would start school on the 22nd. It does go back to early outs, and it's early outs students only, and that would be the end of the grading periods, so that way teachers can plan and prepare and get ready for the new grading period. It does allow for 7 extra days. So it was the calendar actually that had the most instructional time and instructional days. So that was kind of nice, I think, that they looked at which ones had the most instructional time. So this is the calendar that we are bringing to the board for approval.
This is not the newly improved calendar, we're kind of going back in history type calendar, more traditional.
I would say yes. Ms. Price, would y'all kind of agree with me? Yes.
It was right the first time.
Yes. Okay. I think there's still some things that we tweaked, like PD days and work days. Some teachers felt like more work days to help us get ready, instead of pulling us out just for training. So, I think that there are some things that we've tweaked, just
to say that there's a right and wrong. It's just kind of the preferences of the time.
Looking at this, just like this past holiday, how many absences did you guys have Monday after Easter?
There's a lot.
Yeah, the Easter.
So how come none of y'all ever consider
Easter Monday.
Monday,
We do.
but nobody,
It is on this one, it is a teacher.
But it's a teacher one.
so the staff comes, not the students?
It actually was a staff holiday, but because we were lacking a day, we had to go back and figure out one day.
So we had to figure out to make sure that teachers work 187 days. So they had given themselves, when the committee had given themselves and the students Easter Monday off. Okay. When we calculated the days, they were only working 186 days, and their contracts are for 187 days. So they had to give us a day. So we said, we'll give us Easter Monday. But it's a work day, not a training day. So and they can choose to be off and it won't impact. They can choose to be off and it won't impact students. Versus right now, that Monday, we have lots of staff out and students out.
Because if they're costing more than training, then that's better. I was gonna say, having a hard time finding subs.
Correct.
That one day.
So even, and that's with 7 days extra built in?
The 187?
Well, I mean, down at the bottom it says,
That's 7 extra days.
Oh, but those are student days. So it's two different, teachers have to have 187 days, students have to have 75,600 minutes. So when we calculate, we're calculating for two different things.
I can probably, if you have staff with students, they probably won't come.
We're gonna be out, they're gonna be out.
Yeah, Monday.
And that's what we said, okay, if we have to do it, let's make it a work day, not a training day. So I think that's how we tried to fix that one. But yes, Monday after Easter was not
No
free.
students, but staff, yes. Anybody else have any questions regarding the calendar?
Make a motion to approve the calendar.
Second.
Alright, Renee made the motion to approve, to adopt the 2024-2025 district calendar as presented, seconded by Whitney. All those in favor? Passing unanimously. Moving on to the possible action regarding resolution for the participation in the Kinney County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan.
Yes, and for
Yes, Ms. Hobbs.
yes, we have Ms. Hobbs, and I'm sorry, Ms. Hobbs, I didn't think to move it up. I'm so sorry.
I said, but
I'm
I saw you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My apologies.
I
Do you
didn't
need
do
a-
that, it's okay.
And do you want the,
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Sorry.
Just you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So currently our hazard, I've been here to speak to you about this previously. So currently our hazard mitigation plan has been approved at the state level for us to move it up to the federal level. So we are ready to send it to FEMA with a few improvements. We have to go back and make some changes that the state level suggested, which we're working on, getting those input, realigning our page numbers, so forth and so on, all of that good stuff that has to be done before we send it in. And so this is the plan that we worked on for months and months and months with Ms. Diaz and Mr. Hobby. Came to many of our meetings that we had. And again, this plan is only about natural hazards. It does not cover any chemical hazards. It is only things that happen because of nature. So what we need is the resolution to include with our plan whenever we send it up to FEMA so that they can approve it. It has to be approved by resolution by all the entities that are included in it, and Brackett ISD is one of those.
Question. About 4 or 5 years ago, we had a massive hailstorm hit the school. Would that would have fallen into this, under this umbrella?
Hail. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? That was, you might have been here when all the windows were knocked
I think
out.
I wasn't, yes,
Okay.
but,
But that would fall under this
yes,
umbrella.
hail is a natural thing.
How about the eclipse? It ruined all our buildings.
Right?
Huh?
What did the eclipse do? We're gonna blame everything on the eclipse, right?
It aged our buildings by 30 years or something.
Ooh, that might happen to us too. Let's don't say that. Let's don't say that.
So this is not part two, it's really a revision, you just talked
It's-
about part one again all over again.
Yes, it's the
Which
same.
we already discussed.
Yes, it's already been discussed. Like I said, Ms. Diaz and Mr. Hobby came to our meetings and helped us get the action plan together for Brackett ISD and the things that are included in it for the district. And so we're just ready now to move it on up to the federal level, and we just need your approval to do that.
Kenny, and this opens up doors for more grants, right? So,
Right.
So that's what the
Right.
main, it's not the main focus, obviously we wanna have a plan.
Obviously, we want to have a
We wanna have a
plan.
plan.
Yes.
But I think that it's also the key to open the doors to be able to apply for more grants for all the entities.
Yes.
Where can people see that plan?
Where can they see it? Currently, it's on the Kinney County website, and it's a draft. It is not the finalized plan. It still needs to be updated.
Ms. Diaz, what is, or Ms. Thomas, what's mentioned, we qualify for more grants specifically?
They would be FEMA grants.
If we had a disaster,
Yes.
not grants for.
FEMA, well, and you can also apply for other grants. They just, at times will say, you can only apply if you have an approved hazard mitigation plan.
Right.
And you have to have it to even
To put in your
get
people.
to
There's
apply.
certain
Yes.
grants that'll tell you, like, okay, before you can apply, do you meet the following? And so, it just depends on who is doing that grant. Like, we apply for grants with Middle Rio Grant. Okay, Middle Rio Grant says if you're gonna apply for our grants, you have to have a letter of support, you have to have this, you have to have that. Once I put a check mark that I have those three things, then I can move forward with applying for those grants. So there are certain grants that will say, if your community doesn't have a hazard mitigation plan, then you're not eligible to apply. So this was a piece to the puzzle that we needed to put together all the entities in order to be able to apply for grants.
So I'm thinking real fast right now, potential grant to do the drainage, have the garden paper drainage over here at the high school so that when we have a flood, it runs out somewhere
Yeah,
else.
and the thing that a lot of people don't understand with grants is that, and I know like Candy and Alma and I have talked a lot of like what's out there. So sometimes there's a need, but there's not a grant to match that need.
Like a,
And that's very specific.
like drainage, like
And
drainage.
that's typically what we find. So like, I'm looking for transportation grants. Well, the only transportation grants out there right now are if we want to go to electrical school buses. Well, I don't want to go to electrical school buses because we don't have, so it's like, we're not going to apply for that grant. So, this just gives us another opportunity to apply for grants that may meet a need. Usually, it almost even works backwards. Like, we find the grants, and then it's like, oh, could we use this? Oh, yes, we can. Okay, let's apply for it.
And the electrical school buses, is because there's no charges within 100 miles of here.
Right, so the cost for us to upgrade to be able to charge them would not even be worth it at this time.
So the re-up after 5 years, is that a simple process or is that going to be extensive?
Well, hopefully we will do what we're supposed to, and we will maintain this plan every year and make updates to it as we go. And that way we'll be ready to re-up it at the end of 5 years. So all of those things that we've kept up with, so for instance, in the action plans for Brackett ISD, if we can check some of those off and say, yes, we've maintained these or we've added this to our school district, then we can say these have been done and they're completed. But we want to do that annually. We don't want to wait till 5 years down the road and say, oh my gosh, what did we get done? Did we do any of these things? But annual review is the key to that. And then re-upping at the end of the 5 years is just sending it back to FEMA with maybe come up with some more actions that you would like to include. or some other entity does. So we just need to get those in there and make sure that all that's in place before we send it back to FEMA for their approval.
So, grants and FEMA. Now, is this a grant that we can apply before, or is this a grant that something has to happen and then we can apply for that grant? Because I know there's different grants.
There's two different things. There's gonna be at times when you can apply before something happens, and there's gonna be, this mainly is gonna be for applying when after something happens.
After an emergency.
Yes.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Yes, so whenever something drastic happens and lots of people are affected by it and property and things like that, that's when this is really gonna be beneficial.
And I know Mr. Usman had that question, I mean, and I know it's just an example, like you said, like drainage ditches. Drainage. It's not something we can apply for the grant for now. It has to be something that happens, like we have a huge hailstorm, then we can apply for the grant too.
Or flood.
Right.
Repairs.
And like Eliza said, it could be that some point you find that grant out there that's for drainage.
Right.
You just don't ever know. You just always have to be looking and just, sometimes those come up, sometimes they don't. So, yeah.
Is the creek cleanup project part of this, or am I thinking of
The creek, no, well, I'm not sure exactly what you're thinking about, but the information that was compiled by a hydrologist, that is for the creek. This is just an overall plan for hazards. Natural hazards.
Okay.
And then I'm sure we'll be coming back to see you before too long with the local emergency plan, which is the chemical hazards. So you'll want to know about those too.
Just in case we came 6 months down the road and you and Ms. Gutierrez find this outstanding grant, you'll notify Ms. Diaz immediately?
Sure. We try to let her know those kind of things.
In other words, we're not searching. You may hear about it before we do.
Exactly, and you may hear about one before I do. I mean, y'all go to trainings. You probably hear about grants. And if that's the case, let us know. We'd love to.
I just people don't understand grants are not a free for all.
No.
There's a tons of stipulations that comes with grants that you can only use for a certain. Just because you get a grant doesn't mean that you can.
Yeah, they're not giving you $200,000 to say, do what you want.
Right.
No, there are all kinds of
this information, the public thinks that, well, you got a $500,000 grant, how come you're not fixing the fence and how come?
Right, yes. No.
That's not how grants
work. It does not work that way. And you have to track it so closely. You cannot spend money on something that has not been approved.
And if you don't report it correctly, you may have to pay it back.
Exactly. You will have to pay it back.
Because there's a lot of grants, but I know I don't want to do that one, because it's.
And they do make you sign off that you're going to do all of these things. You have to assure them that all of these things are going to take place. And sometimes it's signing up for like surveys and just different things that can come in and check. I mean, there's one that's a cybersecurity right now that we've applied for the county that, I mean, we had to check off lots of different stuff. They had to decide if they wanted to do it or not for that. And it's pretty invasive. I mean, it's checking out your technology and what you have in place and what's there.
Well, there's always an investment piece of it too. For every grant that we add, okay, somebody has to do the accounting for it. So I know that Amalia and I had a conversation where she started off with a binder that had 2 grants that she was doing accounting for. Now she's got one of those big 6-inch binders, and so there's a lot of accounting, and I go back to right there, that's why sometimes there's districts or organizations that have a grant manager, because they do the accounting and the budgeting and the reporting, that goes with it. But yeah, grants are great.
Just remember that old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. And if it is too good to be true, there's going to be lots of things attached to it that would make you think twice about signing the paperwork for that. And not to mention the match, typically there's a match, you know, the district has to put in as well. Very seldom do you find grants that are 100% funded, so, yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for participation in the Kinney County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan as presented? Who makes the motion? Any seconds? All those in favor? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
And again, I'm sorry we didn't hear you, Ms. Hobbs, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I got to see y'all smiling faces, see a little bit longer.
We'll give you, we'll get this signed and I'll send you a message to this office.
Okay, or you could just email it to me, it's fine too.
Perfect,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
No, Caribbean.
Yeah.
Fine.
All right, moving on to 6,
Dinner's ready. Thanks.
D.
Yes.
Consideration of possible action regarding a memorandum of understanding with Angelo State University.
Yes, so this is another one that's an annual MOU that we do. We want to continue our partnership with Angelo State University. We've been very happy with them. We really like the work that they've done. They do have an addendum, and that's why we needed to do an update. And it's basically because they are now participating in a program called FAST, and it's called Financial Aid for Swift Transfers. So it has to do with an update to how they qualify students for financial aid. And so our students will benefit from ASU being a part of FAST. And then the other thing is that because ASU is now a part of FAST, third page on there, it says, due to the new FAST program and our promise to no longer require purchased textbooks. So those of us who have had college kids know what that textbook bill usually looks like. So for us, the district has always covered the cost of our dual credit textbooks. So the fact that it's not going to be something that the district has to pick up is also a benefit to us. So again, it's same contract, just letting us know that they are now a part of FAST, and there will be no cost for textbooks.
Not to mention the dual credit hours transfer. A lot
Much
easier
easier, yes, sir.
with ASU than with the junior college.
Yes, sir. So on this one, it's just to approve that I signed the MOU.
Renee makes the motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Angelo State University. FAST program is presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
3 seconds. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Moving on to 6E, which is regarding board operating procedures.
So we spent a lot of time with our legal consults in looking at our board operating procedures because they hadn't been reviewed and they hadn't been updated. So we worked with our legal team and made sure that everything that we were going to do moving forward was in line with the law. When we went through this training process, it was brought to the attention of our team of 8 that there were some things that were posted on our agendas as public that really shouldn't have been. And I think the biggest item was contracts, okay? So for example, if we bid out somebody to come and, I don't know, do resurfacing, okay, of our parking lots, okay? If we put that contract out, that was not, I guess, legally appropriate because then we are harming the company because they may give us a good deal, then we made it public information, and then other people could go to them and say, how come you charge this? And so our legal attorney advised us on putting minimal things out with the agenda. Okay? However, we've had a couple of public comments where they are requesting some of the reports. Okay? So I did reach out to legal and I said, what can we do so that way there is that transparency, okay, and the community does feel like we're communicating with them and providing them with information. And so she said, you know, you can put the consent agenda items up, you can put the reports up, so they can have access to that. So if you look at the verbiage, it used to say no document other than the agenda will be posted. We could remove that statement and add, attachments will be uploaded for public view to the district website within 24 hours prior to the meeting, and she suggested we put as appropriate. So that gives us some discretion as to what gets put out. So we could decide as a board that consent reports, for example, the elementary reports, the 500 check run, you know, the things at the very beginning of the meeting that are all the reports, could be posted for the community to see. So because it has been brought up, I thought maybe we would want to revisit this. And it may not be a decision we want to make right now. It may be something you want to discuss at the next meeting in closed session, or you may be ready to go and say, okay, I'm good with running it by legal, and if an attachment is appropriate, then we go ahead and make it public information. Any community member can come and do a PIA, a public information request, and they can get it. They just get it after the fact.
Are you getting a bunch of those?
We are getting several.
What's your turnaround on that?
I think we have 10 days, if I'm not mistaken, but we always get it done within the 10 days. It's just one of those that it has to be, like, for example, Veronica has to stop whatever she's working on to go back and pull the attachments and prepare the documents and make sure that they're there. So when we took the attachments off, I would say, and I don't know, Molly, if you agree with me, but the number of PIA requests did increase.
Yes.
Were you able to log before we took it off? How many people were actually going on there, you know, looking at all this stuff?
I can't see that.
No?
Yeah, I can't see that. I definitely feel that during the bond process, there were more people going on to look. We hadn't had that many PIAs. And again, this wasn't ever about not disclosing or hiding. It was the advice of our legal team, you know.
Well, I think the timing we did this, November?
Mm-hmm.
Right after the bond, so it was being said that we were being transparent and hiding information. You know, I got an email stating that we were being hiding stuff from the community by taking those attachments down, which
during the bond process, it's probably when we received the most, a lot of them, and we answered all of them.
Yes.
yeah, but I mean, if it reduces the workload on the ladies in there as well, I mean, this is there's nothing.
What's more, going through each attachment and seeing what's legal to put up, or answering the PIAs?
No, when we do the agenda, we send it to legal, and she tells us. She'll tell us 1357, you know, 11. Yeah, that part is fast. Now, I will tell you that either way, there's work, of course, for Veronica, you know, because, and maybe it's something that we just have to learn in our program, but there's not a show all tab. So we have to go in there and manually make public, and then scroll down, make public, and then scroll down and make public. So, but I think if the concern is transparency, this was never about not being transparent. This was about trying to make sure that the district stayed out of any legal issues. But I think because it has been brought to our attention about it being a transparency issue, that we, as a team, you know, we have nothing that we're hiding. So if we just need to go back and put the attachments back up, then I think that's what my recommendation.
It's never been an issue of being transparent with the public. It's been an issue of protecting those that we work with and their privacy, and continuing that relationship with those that we have contracts with. That's what it's always been a matter of. It's never been a matter of being transparent with anybody.
And there will be those things that can still be requested, but we have 10 days to give a response, because some of those things, even the Attorney General has to provide an opinion as to whether or not it can be released. If it has specific industry information or procurement information. So even though it is requested, it doesn't mean that we're always going to release it. We go through legal when it's questionable, but if it's simple things like reports and things like that.
Correct, if there isn't already an Attorney General's opinion. And don't let them hold you to the 10 days, because it's not 10 days, it's in a timely manner. So don't let them tell you have 10 days. You can take more than 10 days as long as it's a timely manner.
And usually it's 10 to say what we're gonna do. Just a response. Yeah, we can take longer, we can charge, there's a lot of things.
And you can charge. If it's gonna take you more time, and it's, I think, over 50 copies.
Labor hours,
Correct. And if it's gonna be more than that, you can give them the option. It doesn't have to be a print copy. And it doesn't have to be a print copy. You can tell them, you can give them hours and date of when they can come and look at it.
Right. As long as you provide it,
Exactly.
that's also
Options.
right.
In the spirit of clarification, because word transparency is the most worn-out word in the world right now, what is it costing the taxpayers for the attorneys to review our agenda? I mean, that's kind of like a surprise that we are having the attorneys. Well, first of all, the taxpayers' money is used to have the attorneys review an agenda that's for public knowledge. That's costing money to the school district.
Right, and I agree with you there, but I think that there's some things that we would identify as appropriate. So I think that there are some things that as we're going through, it wouldn't necessarily mean emailing the agenda and then getting that confirmation back. I think that if we decide, okay, the consent agenda items, the reports, those are always going to be appropriate. There's no procurement issues there. I think that anything that, for example, one of the items that I shared with y'all in information under the vacancies had teachers' names on it. Okay, no question there. We're not going to put that out in the public because I put a teacher's name in there, or I'd have to redact it. So I think that as we go through this process, it wouldn't require as much legal time, but you were absolutely right. Every time we reach out to our attorney to get either guidance, approval, recommendations, yes, it does cost the taxpayers money.
So the wording as appropriate will more likely save the taxpayers money.
Correct.
Okay.
Because I think we would be deeming some things appropriate on a monthly basis.
Correct.
Is everybody okay with that change that the attorney has provided?
If the attorney provided it, I'm good.
So remove the statement and add attachment uploaded for the public to view to the district website within 24 hours prior to the meetings as appropriate.
And that was the other thing she recommended, was the 24 hours. So it wouldn't be the same time that y'all would get it.
Yeah, because when I told them this was based off our orders, they told us we needed better orders. So I don't know if this is going to be sufficient enough for.
I don't think I ever will be.
To be honest, so I'm okay with this. I don't know about everybody else.
It's a reasonable change.
Alright, so we'll go back up to, is there a motion to update the board operating procedures as presented?
Make a motion.
Then we'll make the motion. Renee seconds, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Moving on to the regarding job description for Stronger Connections Counselor from DIAZ F.
So talking about grants, we did apply for a grant this school year. It was called the Stronger Connections Grant, and the focus of this grant was parental engagement, social emotional learning, and just really focusing on the whole child. We were awarded the grant for a total of $357,000 and $280,000. So one of the requirements, again, because grants have requirements. Yes, grants have requirements, is that we have to fund a Stronger Connections counselor, coordinator, director, social worker, some person that's going to coordinate and lead this position, this program.
It's a new position.
So it's a new position. It is not like ACE, which ACE is interventions and academic and enrichment. Okay, Stronger Connections is social emotional. We also built, when I wrote the grant, I built it around the theme life coach. Okay, so working with kids to help them just make better choices. We tell our kids that they need to study, and they're like, how? They don't know how to study. Or, what's your goals? We find ourselves having those conversations with kids. What's your goal? For what? And so when we wrote the narrative for this grant, we centered it around those keywords, life coach. These aren't kids would be in this program, wouldn't necessarily be a special programs kid. It would be open to anybody, any level, and would be more of a referral process, okay? So teachers could refer kids to work with a life coach to help them on the planning, on the organization. We get a lot of kids who just don't do well with transition because they can't get themselves organized. They can't get themselves motivated. So I did look through TASB, and TASB did have some recommendations for different Stronger Connections positions. So Ms. Price, myself, Ms. Tanya Morgan, and Ms. Cindy Welch, we met and we reviewed different job descriptions to create our job description, which would be for a Stronger Connections counselor, and would be completely funded by the grant. Okay. And then the other thing that this does is that because our current counselors would work with this program as well, it allows us to also pay some of the counselors' salaries now out of this grant, freeing up some of our regular 199 funds. So the grant totally funds one position, okay, would partially fund our current counseling positions, and then would also partially fund the curriculum in the program. We have to work with the Texas Student Support Center and Region 20. We're required to provide a percentage of the grant to them because they'll be helping us get this grant going. So because it is a new position, I do have the job description that needs to be approved.
Can the current counselors apply for this position?
Yes.
Correct. Maybe switching. Remember, they can.
Yes, so it would be similar to like what we did when we had ESER 3, that we had both dyslexia teachers and then they went away, and then we were able to fund one, but we weren't able to fund both with the grant. So, they had to be either reassigned to a current vacancy or take another position.
This is for how many years?
I believe, I would say 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5, and I said, no, I think that's the other one.
And then one person will service the elementary to high school?
It would be a K-12 position.
Oh.
Kinder to 12, yes, it's a district.
I see the pay grade in admin in 2026, what is that?
It's where our counselors are.
Amount?
Yeah, so 226 is that they work we work all year round. It's not, remember we were talking about the teachers being 187? So the counselor with this position would be 226.
Can you announce más o menos what the salary would be, 40,000, 45,000?
Closer to 60.
60.
Yeah. And a lot of it will depend on experience. Yeah.
If they have a master's, will they get paid more?
No, because this one has to have a master's.
Well, it says your master's degree.
Right, but if you keep going, it requires a certification as a school counselor. So a school counselor has to have a master's.
Okay.
I'm good, as long as that's the way it's being ranked.
I got
Social worker?
It's a good career.
There was one social worker.
It's a just like a counselor, it's a good master's or.
And we did put like 3 years of experience as a teacher or in a related field. So maybe they worked for CPS, I don't know, somewhere where they worked with kids, maybe they worked in a foster home or, but where they've been working with kids in that type of setting. More social work is really kind of where we're going.
We have a room for this person, we have an office for this person.
Identified, no, but we'll maybe have, yeah.
Well, we went from 50 zone teachers to 48. So.
Yeah, we have classrooms.
I'll move to accept the job description.
All right, Renee makes a motion to approve the job descriptions for Stronger Connections and ACE/elementary coordinator as presented. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, no, it should be one. So can we do them separate? Because there's 2 separate job descriptions, I'm sorry. That one should have read just Stronger Connections.
Yeah, G is ACE, right?
Yes, so the motion to
The
approve
motion is
just for the Stronger
You
Connections.
just want the Stronger Connection counselors?
Mhm.
All right, so Renee made the motion to approve the description for the Stronger Connection counselor.
Second.
Seconds, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Now you want,
Now I want to talk about the 21st Century ACE.
okay?
So at the last board meeting, we did approve somebody for the position of the ACE program director, which would be the person that is taking Ms. Watkinson's place, okay? I have since then visited with the person that we hired, and I'm recommending that we make some revisions to his job description. I don't know if y'all recall his resume and, his experience. And so he with this position, does have a lot of experience in, educational administration, okay? So if you look at the job description, I've added some assistants to our elementary campus. If you look at the enrollment for elementary, it's about 250 something, and secondary is 285. So they're pretty even, yet elementary does not have an assistant principal, okay? So in revising this, when our 21st Century director is on campus, they would be able to assist with some of the day-to-day operations at the elementary campus. So they would help with some of the instructional management, they would help with some of the special programs, they would assist the principal in implementation of scheduling. This person could assist with behavior interventions, basically act as the campus behavior coordinator. Right now, we don't have anybody that serves as the district hearing officer. So whenever we have a discipline issue, either Ms. Price has to go, I have to go, Ms. Newman goes to support Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Jimenez goes, and we're just kind of all over the place. So this could be a district hearing officer to help with the discipline. And then you'll see the ACE director duties would fall under this position. So this position would actually be ACE and assisted the elementary. So I called it, my recommendation is that it be the 21st Century Director / Elementary Coordinator. I have visited with multiple people in regards to this position and how it's worded, and everyone I've spoken to does feel that it's doable, okay? Now, if I shared this with the current person, okay, she probably would not feel that it was doable, but I also think it has to do with the administrator hat versus the teacher hat.
So if we have someone in this position who has administrator experience, you kind of learn to balance things and juggle things a little bit better, you know. I think the current person did a phenomenal job, okay? But she was also in the program. She was teaching some of the classes. She was, you know, working some of the enrichment programs. And I think this person has to be a director. You know, that's what it was intended to be when the person is hired. So you oversee the program, you make sure it can get off and do what it needs to do. I think the other thing too is that our current director is leaving us in really good shape. You know, we've got a schedule, we've got rotations, we know what it's supposed to look like. She's established a foundation, so now we can just move into the implementation. You've seen some of the data at the elementary, you know. I think Ms. Newman is doing a great job. But it's hard to get parents engaged, okay? It's hard to get staff and kids to do what we need them, you know, to do. So I think having that extra support, I think we could see some huge benefits of the elementary campus. And like I said, because it is new and it is personnel, we can discuss it more in closed session if y'all prefer, and then come out and make some recommendations.
And you discussed this with the individual?
Yes. I've actually discussed it with 2 individuals.
But the individual that you hired already?
And she okay with wearing multiple hats?
And it's grant funded.
And it's grant funded.
With that addition, it still falls under the grant funding?
Yes.
So with the, you know me.
Yes, no, go, yes.
You're gonna fix this?
Yeah.
That bothers me.
What, that it's red?
No, that.
It's not lined up?
You got all those bullets. Are they gonna remain bullets, or are you gonna give them a numerical value?
No, I'll give them a numerical value, but I wanted you to see where the ACE now is embedded.
Okay.
Yes, no, that was for presentation purposes. Yes, for presentation purposes, I wanted to make sure that y'all can see that ACE now is embedded into this job.
And then you're gonna take these numbers off, right?
Yes, I'll take those numbers off. Are you making the notes?
Well, I'm gonna be here next month to see if you fix that.
You still have 1 more month to come.
No.
Yes.
No.
Your last one that we switch over.
Okay.
That's why I don't have your plaque ready.
No, I could already see you.
Notes.
You don't even need to take notes. You
I
just
just
take
got
notes.
hers.
Yes. We do that sometimes, so.
Anybody else have any questions, concerns?
I make a motion to approve the job description.
Renee made the motion to approve the job description for the 21st Century Director, ACE.
It's the amended,
/ elementary coordinator.
it's the amended job description.
Yes.
Awesome.
Amended job description. Whitney second, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Budget amendments.
Nice month.
No budget amendments.
Maybe next month.
But next month.
Alright, moving on to the superintendent's report. Ms. Diaz.
So we are at the end of the year, so you'll see lots of dates of important things. End of the 6 weeks, April 11th. Okay. Professional Development Day, April 12th. STAR testing, we start next week. Flex Day is scheduled for April 19th. Back onto the Professional Development Day for Friday, I did send an email out and then shared it with y'all that we are doing it as a work day. So our teachers have all fulfilled their PD requirements. So we had talked about how some PD days would transfer into work days, so they'll get a work day that day. First scheduled budget workshop is for May the 2nd. We're getting all our information together and we'll be ready to present the first workshop on May the 2nd. School board election will be May the 4th. Teacher Appreciation Week, May the 6th through the 10th. Second scheduled budget workshop would be May the 9th. Regular board meeting on May the 13th. Then we have all the different awards.
athletic banquets, senior graduation, summer leadership, housing open Fridays. So it's
There's one change. We had to change the elementary 4th and 5th grade awards because of the senior breakfast, because we have teachers that have seniors. We're gonna move it from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay, great, thank you.
So one, you said?
Yes.
So that they can make the senior breakfast with their seniors. Your senior breakfast is the same number.
Esa lie.
Regional tracking is on the 11th.
Yes, Griffin told me that.
Or area.
Yes, yes. And he's
This Thursday.
Oh, where?
Fall City.
Yes, and we spoke today, and he says, I think he said, told me 5 girls and 9 boys, really strong
Wow.
candidates.
UIL regional too on April 26th.
There's lots of stuff happening.
How did UIL do? I'm sorry, how did what I played?
One I play made it to by district and then did not advance. And then our academic UIL was last,
Yes,
week.
they did very well.
and so we'll bring you those lists of all the awards.
I want to mention publicly that Ms. Diaz, she's been a great example to the community. I know that I went to the second one-night play in San Antonio, and prior to that, she spent the entire morning at with the Special Olympics in Eagle Pass. Got in the car, drove to San Antonio. We were there till 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. She came home, and my understanding she came back at work the next day. So, in my opinion, you're an outstanding public official and a good example of the community.
Thank you, appreciate it. That's it.
All right, with that being said, we'll be going into closed session at 8:03, pursuant to Government Code 551.074. All right, we're going to be coming back into open session at 9:02. Is there a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Julie Small Source?
I make a motion.
I'll say, hold on. Stand by. Right, here we go. Is there a motion to accept the letter of resignation from a Julie Small Source?
I make a motion.
We made the motion. Give a second. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Also need a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Candace Pettis. Renee made the motion.
I'll second.
With second. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. And also need a motion to renew the current term contract for Abby De Leon, secondary teacher. Correct?
Yes.
For 2024-2025? All right, Tony made the motion. Ricky second. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. And I need a motion to deny AVANCE's proposal for the 2024-2025 school year. Renee made the motion with second. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. With no further discussion, we'll adjourn our meeting at 9:04.